Hey guys, we are ready to talk about spice conquest in Europe. Okay, so long time ago, the Europeans discovered, hey, our food is really bland and gross and nobody likes to eat it, so we want to spice it up. Over in the East, in Asia, they have super yummy, spicy food. So let's go over there and get their food. But the, oops, gotta put my marker on. The Arabs and the Italians had total control of the spice market. And the other Europeans didn't like that. They wanted some of the spice market. So we are going to focus on Portugal and Spain today. Let's go to the map. Portugal and Spain is what we're going to focus on. Here's Italy, and the Arab world is mostly here. These are the people that, well, let's go over here. This is where your spices come from, this part of the world here. And the people that had control of it were mostly here and here. And the people that we're going to talk about that are trying to get some control of it are here and here. So let's start with these guys. Portugal, 1455. In the year 1455, this guy named Prince Henry. I'm going to write that down for you. Let's erase this. Prince Henry gets in a ship Oh, that doesn't really look like a ship. Sorry, that was supposed to be a sail. Whatever. Prince Henry gets on a ship and takes off from Portugal and sails down here towards North Africa. I realize this looks small, not a big deal, but that's because I've got the entire globe shrunk down to one picture that you can see on my computer screen. Hopefully you know the Earth is huge. They explored for a really long time and they were in ships. It took a very, very long time. They explored. 5 years later, poor Prince Henry died. So 1460, he died. 1460, Prince Henry's dead. Then in 1480, but the exploring didn't stop. Just Prince Henry died. This guy named Bartholomew Diaz continued the exploration for a long time. He kept going. And in the year 1488, he made it all the way down here, all the way around this corner, and named it the Cape of Good Hope. Why did he name it the Cape of Good Hope? Sorry, I didn't mean to click there. He named it the Cape of Good Hope because they had good hopes that they were going to make it all the way to Asia, all the way over here to their spices. Their big goal was literally these little islands right here. I'm going to zoom in. Where am I going? Now I have to back that out. I've lost my islands. Sorry, I'm lost. I have to zoom out. Sorry, folks. Here we are, Maluku. These islands right here, where it says Maluku, these are the islands specifically where it says the Banda Arc, North Maluku and Maluku. These are the specific islands they're really looking for. This is where their spices are. That's where they're trying to get. But they're coming from here. And they're trying to go all the way around Africa and trying to come all the way over here. And they named this the Cape of Good Hope. It took them from Portugal. It took them, when did I say they started? They started in 1450. No, wasn't 1450. When was it I said they started? 1455. 1455. Then Prince Henry died in 1460. It was 1488. All the way to 1488 to get around the Cape of Good Hope. That's 30 years to get from there to there. Not 30 years to get all the way over here, just 30 years to get down here to the Cape of Good Hope to get around here. So that's why they called it the Cape of Good Hope. 30 years to get down here. And they called it the Cape of Good Hope. That's what it's still called today. That is called the Cape of Good Hope. And they named it that once again. It's named the Cape of Good Hope because they had these great good hopes that they would be able to make it all the way over here to get their spices. Then in 1497, this other Portuguese guy named Vasco da Gama took 4 ships and a whole bunch of guys around the Cape of Good Hope. And he went to India. Went from Portugal down here around the Cape of Good Hope up to India to Calcutta, which is right, not exactly, but right about here to the Cape port of Calcutta, which is right about here, and bought a bunch of spices. On his way, he lost half his ships and almost half his sailors. But when he went back, he made a lot of money. So he didn't care at all that he lost a whole bunch of people, didn't care. He got crazy rich, made lots of money. She's like, I don't care that a whole bunch of people are dead, whatever. I'm a rich man now. He went back, left some people here, and told them, when the spices are really, really cheap, I want you to buy a whole bunch of them, like bunches and bunches and bunches of them. And then he went into the spice business. Then he came over here, and in the name of Portugal, he took control of lots and lots of ports. He came all along here, all along Africa, and took control of ports. And so made Portugal a leading world nation, a leading nation of the world. Okay, leading nation of the world because they controlled all these ports. Everybody wants spices. Everybody needs to come over here to get spices. And now Portugal's in control. All right. Okay, so now Portugal, this tiny little random European country, is suddenly really rich. Now, these other European countries are looking over at Portugal and they're jealous. Spain, their neighbor, super jealous. Okay, Spain, jealous of Portugal. Now, there's some stuff going on in Spain right now. Spain is going through one of their anti-Jewish phases. Spain has a habit of going through some anti-Semite phases. Anti-Semite means anti-Jewish. And they do that a lot. They have a bunch of phases of we don't like the Jews, and at this time in history, they're going through a pretty strong anti-Semite phase. And right now, they have kicked out all the Jews from Spain. There's one little problem. The Jews are the rich people, and the Jews are the business class. So let's think about this for a minute. What do you think is gonna happen to the economy of your nation if you have suddenly kicked out your entire business class and all your rich people? Hopefully you're smart enough to figure that out. I'm pretty sure you are. Okay, so the king and the queen, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella are sitting there kind of panicking over what are we gonna do? We had to kick out the Jews. They're evil and awful and horrible and they're Jewish. But now we don't have any money. So, and they're looking over at Portugal that is suddenly rich. Along comes this guy named Christopher Columbus. And Christopher Columbus goes to them and says, hey, Ferdinand, hey, Isabella, I have a way to make you super rich. I have discovered a way to get to the spices in a really, really fast way. I'm gonna quickly make it directly to those spices. I'm going to get us there and I'm going to make us really, really rich. And they're like, what? You're going to make us rich fast? Okay, here, how are you going to do it? And he says, check this out. I'm going to go west. And they said, wait a minute. We're here and the spices are over here. You say you're going to go this way? And he says, well, yeah, check this out. The world is actually round and it's really small. So it's going to be actually faster for me to go this way. And it's really small. So I'm going to go really, really quickly. And I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to get around really quick. And I'm going to hit the spices going that way. And they're like, what? Yeah. Okay, that totally makes sense to us. All right, here, we're going to give you 3 ships. Take the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. You need to know these names. I'm going to give you the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. You need to know these names. Here, I'm going to give you the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. All right, so Christopher Columbus takes the ships and he really, really thinks it's going to work. So this is his idea. Here's Mrs. Gibbons' terrible artwork. Here's Europe. And here are the East Indies. That's what they call them, the East Indies. These are the islands where the spices are. And they know the earth is round. Just the thing is, they don't know that the Americas are here at all. We know this now. We know that the Americas are here, but they don't know the Americas are here. They think the ocean is empty over here. And Christopher Columbus thinks the earth is much, much, much smaller than it is. And so he thinks he's going to sail off this way and very quickly. He thinks he's going to, in like just a few weeks, he thinks he's just gonna zip around the earth real quick and hit his spices. But instead, what happens, hopefully you all know this story, he zips right over and hits some islands over here, and he is 100% convinced that he has hit the East Indies. He thinks he has hit his islands, and he calls these people Indians. That's why people in the United States still today call the Native Americans Indians, because they called them Indians back then. And he wasn't even in what we call the United States. He was in the Caribbean. So, all right, now I'm back to the map. So this is where he left from. They didn't know any of this existed at all. So he left from here and he went this way. Bam, 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 over here. And he actually hit these islands down here. But he thought Christopher Columbus was completely convinced that he was on these islands over here. And he called people the Indians. Do you see how this says Indonesia? He was saying Indians, Indies, Indonesia. He thought he was here. Like the people that finally realized that Christopher Columbus was on a completely new to them continent that nobody even knew was there. They made fun of him. They called him stupid. And he was convinced, like he argued with them and yelled at them and said mean, horrible things to people, like yelling and screaming that he had not discovered a new land, that he had found a path to these islands. He had not. He had discovered a new place. I said discovered in quotes because you can't really discover a place. People were living here. There were people that lived here. It was only discovered by the Europeans because the Europeans didn't know about it. So they came over here and crashed into land that they didn't even know existed. He came down here and landed on land that they didn't know had even been there. When he did that, when he originally did that, he went back to Spain. And when he went back to Spain, he was welcomed as a hero. Christopher Columbus was welcomed as a hero because he went back and he told everyone that he had discovered a route to the Indies. And everybody was like, yay, you discovered a route to the Indies. It wasn't until he went back and brought people with him that other people that went with him were looking around and were like, wait a minute, like, I don't think this is right. I don't think we're in the East Indies. This doesn't look right. I don't see spices, like people that had been there before, like, I don't think this is the Indies. And that's when they realized that they were in a new place. Okay. And let's see here, more. Okay, so when that happened, when they realized that they had discovered, once again, air quotes, when they realized they had discovered an all completely new continent, what do you think happened? Well, suddenly they wanted to claim it as their own. Spain and Portugal both wanted to say, oh, that's mine, that's mine. So Spain and Portugal were bickering and fighting over, that belongs to me, that belongs to me, that belongs to me. Never mind the people that already lived there, like it was theirs. Nobody cared about them. It was suddenly belonged to Portugal and Spain. So they went crying to the Pope, who was Alexander VI at the time. Let me Alexander VI. And Pope Alexander VI, to appease them, just like a parent would do, Pope Alexander VI drew a line and said, okay, you two, I'm going to draw a line. And this part belongs to you, and this part belongs to you. And the Pope literally drew a line and said, okay, Spain, you can get this part, and Portugal, you can get this part. And I did it that way on purpose because there was a line, and Spain got the part on the west and Portugal got the part on the east. And the line that he drew was called the line of demarcation. And the treaty they signed was called the Treaty of Tordesillas. Tordesillas. And they signed it in 1494. Okay. And where does the name America come from? This is actually a kind of interesting story, I think. So this Italian sea captain. Oh, this is another trivia thing. This is another question that comes up in trivia fairly often. An Italian sea captain named Amerigo Vespucci. Okay, Italian sea captain named Amerigo Vespucci wrote a journal about his trip to Brazil. Let me show you where Brazil is. Brazil. All right, so here's Italy. And this sea captain took a trip to Brazil and he wrote a journal about it. I'm sure you all know what a journal is. I mean, that's really kind of it. He wrote his journal about a trip to Brazil. And then later, after that, a German cartographer, what is a cartographer? Cartographer is a map maker. A German map maker named Martin Waldseemüller. Martin Waldseemüller published a map of the Americas, and he used Amerigo Vespucci's drawings of the Americas. So in Amerigo Vespucci's journals, he had drawn the Americas. This cartographer published the Amerigo's drawings, And when he published it, he wrote on the maps, he wrote America. And so that's it. That's it. Just ever since then, ever since then, it's been known as the Americas. That's it. I was going to try to draw it, but I can't really. I can just show you on a map. So. America. Where's the map? Here we are. Map of the Americas. So Amerigo Vespucci was an Italian guy that wrote a journal and drew a picture of the Americas. And then later, this German map maker published Vespucci's picture of the Americas and wrote America over it. And that's it. That's how the Americas got their name. Okay. And he named these islands right here. These islands, these are the ones that Christopher Columbus explored. He named them the West Indies. And that's because these islands over here, they were already called the East Indies. They already were the East Indies. And because Christopher Columbus thought he was in the Indies, now these are called the West Indies. So if you ever hear anyone say the East Indies and the West Indies, well, these are the East Indies and these are the West Indies. Okay, so the French and the Dutch and the English continued to try to find a way to make it over here coming this way. They kept trying to leave from here and leave this direction to go west and still make it over here. Now, in 2021, when we can look at the map from here, we realize that seems kind of silly, but they didn't really know that at the time. They were still exploring the world. This was forever ago. They didn't know how huge the world was. And so they were still trying. So I've got one more really cool story to tell you about. September 20th, 1519. This guy named Magellan left from Spain. I'm going to go back to the whiteboard and write some more, but I want to show you where he left from. Guy named Magellan left from Spain and he went down this way and he came around here. I'm going to go back to the whiteboard now, but I want to show you. He came down here. Okay. So September 20, 1519, a Portuguese man He was a nobleman, but a minor nobleman. Minor nobleman. A minor nobleman means he was noble, but he wasn't like really rich. He was just kind of rich. So he left from Spain. He had left from Spain with 5 ships and 270 sailors. He went southwest. Like I said, he went southwest this way. Okay. On November 20th of 1520. So September 20th, 1519 to November 20th of 1520. That's a year. Look, I know this looks like a short distance, but once again, the Earth is huge. This picture makes it look small. It took him a year to get from here to here. So, sorry, a year it took him to get to here. He finally found one place where he could get all the way through, all the way across. And the reason that he couldn't get through is this is all icy. This is icy, and there are big, big, awful, horrible storms through here. So it's icy and the ships can't get through down here. So he found a place that he could get through. And now it's named the Strait of Magellan. It's named after him, yay. And that was the whole goal of his entire trip, was to find a place where they could get through. And so his crew wanted to go back. But do you think he would let them do that? Of course not. He said, no way, come on, guys. We've come this far. It can't be that much further. Come on. Let's just go. It's got to be just a few more, just a few more weeks. We've come this far. Let's just go a few more weeks and we'll be to the spices. Spices in the Indies. Let's go. So they got to this new, beautiful ocean they hadn't seen before, and it was peaceful and it was beautiful. So he called it the Pacific. Pacific means peaceful in Latin. So the Pacific Ocean means peaceful in Latin. And it wasn't a few weeks. It took them 4 months to reach the Philippines. 4 months. And Magellan died. Then it took another year. September 8th, 1522. The one remaining ship and get this, 18 living sailors arrived back in Spain. But they were the very first men to ever circumnavigate the earth. Circumnavigate, that means to go all the way around the earth. They went from Spain all the way down here to, all the way down here to South America, all the way over here, all the way across the Pacific Ocean, all the way, and then all the way over to here, and then back, and then all the way back up to Spain again, all the way around the world. And it took them 3 years, and they went from 270 people to 18 people, and it took them 3 years, and Magellan himself died. But he's got a strait named after him down here, the Magellan Strait. So we learned about the Magellan Strait and the Cape of Good Hope. We learned that Christopher Columbus wasn't really all that much of a bright guy. We learned that King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella had kicked out all the business class and the rich people from their country, and that's why they were desperate to employ Columbus. We learned about Prince Henry. We learned, what else did we learn? The line of demarcation, the Treaty of Tordesillas, the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, and spices. And that this is how Portugal became dominant in the world at this time. Okay, bye guys.